From ancient scrolls to modern classics, welcome to Whispers of Japanese Tales.
The Yodaka Star by Kenji Miyazawa. The porcite bird, or Yodaka, is truly an ugly creature. Its face is mottled, as though smeared unevenly with miso paste, and its beak is flat, splitting all the way to its ears. Its legs are frail and feeble, so weak that it can scarcely walk the span of a single ken, a traditional Japanese unit of measurement, roughly 2 meters. Other birds, upon merely catching sight of the Yodaka's face, would immediately feel an overwhelming sense of revulsion. For instance, the skylark, while not exactly a beautiful bird itself, still considered itself far superior to the Yodaka. When encountering the Yodaka in the evening, the skylark would pointedly close its eyes in disdain, tilting its head away as if to avoid even looking at it. Smaller, chattier birds were even crueler, openly hurling insults at the Yodaka whenever they crossed paths. Ugh, here it comes again. Just look at that sorry state. What an embarrassment to all birds. Right? And look at that massive mouth, it must be related to frogs or something. This was the kind of scorn and mockery the Yodaka endured constantly. Ah, if the Yodaka had been an ordinary hawk, even these small, impertinent birds would have trembled at the mere mention of its name. They would have turned pale, quivered with fear, and shrunk into themselves, hiding behind leaves for protection. But the Yodaka was not a true hawk, neither a sibling nor even a distant relative. On the contrary, the Yodaka was related to the exquisite kingfisher and the jewel-like hummingbird, the treasures of the bird world. While the hummingbird fed on nectar and the kingfisher dined on fish, the Yodaka sustained itself by catching and eating insects. Moreover, the Yodaka lacked the sharp talons and fierce beak of a hawk. There was no reason, then, for even the weakest of birds to fear the Yodaka, and yet, it was scorned and ridiculed all the same. It might seem strange that the Yodaka carried the name of hawk, taka in Japanese, given its lack of resemblance to one. However, this name arose for 2 reasons. First, the Yodaka's wings were incredibly powerful, and when it cut through the wind in flight, it looked strikingly like a hawk. Second, its sharp, piercing cry also bore a certain similarity to that of a hawk. Naturally, this association was deeply offensive to the hawks. They took great issue with it and despised the Yodaka for bearing their name. Whenever a hawk encountered the Yodaka, it would puff up its shoulders indignantly and demand, "Change your name. Change your name." One evening, a hawk finally came to visit the Yodaka. "Hey, are you in there? Have you still not changed your name? You really are shameless. You and I are entirely different creatures, you know. For instance, I soar high into the blue sky, as far as I please. You, on the other hand, only come out on cloudy, dim days or at night. Look at my beak and talons. Then compare them carefully to your own." "Hawk," replied the Yodaka calmly, "that's asking too much. I didn't choose my name. It was given to me by the divine." "That may be true for my name," retorted the hawk, "but yours is, in a sense, borrowed, part from me and part from the night. So give it back." "Hawk, that's impossible," the Yodaka answered. "It's not impossible," the hawk insisted. "I'll even give you a good name, Ikitso." "That's right, Ikitso. It's a fine name, isn't it? But changing your name isn't enough. You'll need to make a formal announcement to everyone. Here's how it works. You hang a tag around your neck that says Ikitso, and you go around to everyone, bowing and saying, 'From now on, I shall be known as Ikitso.' That's the proper way to do it." "I could never do such a thing," replied the Yodaka, his voice filled with quiet resolve. "No, you can do it, and you will. If you don't comply by the morning after tomorrow, I will kill you on the spot. Believe me, I will seize you and end your life. On that morning, I'll visit every bird's home to ask if you've made your rounds. If even one bird says you haven't, that will be the end of you." "But isn't that far too much to ask? If it comes to that, I'd rather be dead." "Go ahead and kill me now," replied the Yodaka, his voice filled with quiet despair. "Think it over carefully. Ikitso isn't such a bad name, you know," the hawk said, spreading his large wings wide before soaring back to his nest. The Yodaka closed his eyes tightly and sank deep into thought. "Why is it that everyone despises me so? Is it because my face looks like it's smeared with miso and my mouth is split wide open? But I've never done anything wrong in my life. When I found a baby Mejiro that had fallen from its nest, I helped it and brought it back safely. And yet, the Mejiro snatched the baby away from me as if I were some kind of thief, and then mocked me terribly. And now, they want me to call myself Ikitso and wear a tag around my neck. What a cruel fate this is." The surroundings were already growing dim. The Yodaka flew out from its nest. The clouds glowed faintly, in a way that seemed spiteful, hanging low in the sky. The Yodaka skimmed close to the clouds, gliding silently through the air. Then, suddenly, the Yodaka opened its mouth wide, stretched its wings straight out, and shot across the sky like an arrow. Countless tiny insects flew straight into its throat. Before it even touched the ground, the Yodaka deftly leapt back into the air. The clouds had turned a murky gray, and across the mountains, the fiery red glow of a distant forest fire painted the horizon. When the Yodaka flew with all its might, it seemed as though the very sky itself had been split in two. A single beetle found its way into the Yodaka's throat and struggled violently. The Yodaka swallowed it quickly, but in that moment, it felt an unsettling chill run down its back. The clouds had turned pitch black, with only the eastern sky lit by the crimson reflection of the mountain fire, casting an ominous glow. Feeling as though something was caught in its chest, the Yodaka ascended into the sky once more. Another beetle entered the Yodaka's throat, flailing and scratching violently as if trying to claw its way out. The Yodaka forced itself to swallow, but in that moment, its chest tightened suddenly, and it cried out in anguish, its wails echoing through the night. It circled the sky over and over, sobbing. Ah, beetles and countless other insects, I kill so many of them every night. And now, I am the one who will be killed by the hawk. This pain, this torment, it's unbearable. Oh, how it hurts. I can't take it anymore. I'll stop eating insects and starve to death instead. No, the hawk will surely kill me before that. No, before any of it, I'll fly far away, to the furthest ends of the sky. The mountain fire continued to spread like flowing water, and even the clouds seemed to glow as if they were ablaze. The Yodaka flew straight to his younger brother, the kingfisher. The beautiful kingfisher was already awake, watching the distant wildfire. When he saw the Yodaka descend, he called out, "Brother, good evening. Do you have urgent business tonight?" "No," the Yodaka replied. "I'm going far away this time, so I came to see you one last time." "Brother, you can't leave. The hummingbird is already so far away, and if you go too, I'll be left all alone," the kingfisher pleaded. "There's nothing I can do," said the Yodaka quietly. "Don't ask me for explanations tonight. Just promise me this. Only catch fish when you absolutely need to, and don't wastefully take them. All right? Goodbye." "Brother, what's wrong?" "Wait, just a moment longer," the kingfisher urged. "No, it's the same no matter how long I stay. Give my regards to the hummingbird when you see him. Goodbye. This is the last time we'll meet. Farewell." With tears streaming down, the Yodaka returned to his own home. The short summer night was already giving way to dawn. The fern leaves, glistening with the morning mist, swayed in a cool blue serenity. The Yodaka let out a sharp, clear kishi kishi kishi. Then, it carefully tidied its nest, smoothing every feather on its body with precision. Once everything was in order, the Yodaka flew out of the nest once more. The mist lifted, revealing the sun rising steadily in the eastern sky. Though the brilliant light dazzled the Yodaka to the point of dizziness, it steadied itself and shot like an arrow straight toward the radiant sun. Oh sun, please take me to where you are. I don't care if I burn to death. Even my ugly body will surely emit a small light when it burns. Please, take me with you," the Yodaka pleaded. No matter how far it flew, the sun never came closer. Instead, the sun seemed to grow smaller and more distant. From afar, the sun finally spoke. "You are the Yodaka, aren't you? I see how much you must be suffering. This time, try flying into the sky and asking the stars for help. After all, you are not a bird of the day." The Yodaka felt as though it bowed deeply in thanks, but its strength gave out. Suddenly overcome with dizziness, it fell to the grass of the open field below. Lying there, it felt as if it were drifting into a dream. The Yodaka felt its body ascending through red and yellow stars, carried endlessly by the wind, or even seized by a hawk's talons. It was as though everything blurred into a dreamlike haze. Suddenly, something cold fell onto its face. The Yodaka opened its eyes. A drop of dew had fallen from the leaf of a young reed. Night had fully descended. The sky was a deep, dark blue, shimmering with countless stars. The Yodaka rose into the sky once again. The mountain fire was still burning red in the distance, its glow vivid against the dark horizon. The Yodaka soared through the faint glow of the mountain fire and the cold starlight, circling the night sky once, and then again. Gathering its resolve, it turned toward the beautiful Orion in the western sky and flew straight toward it, crying out, "Oh stars, pale blue stars of the west, please take me to your side. I don't care if I burn to death." But Orion, continuing its brave and majestic song, paid no attention to the Yodaka, as if it did not even acknowledge its existence. The Yodaka, on the verge of tears, wavered and nearly fell from the sky. It barely managed to steady itself before taking flight once more. This time, it flew straight toward the southern sky where the great dog constellation shone, crying out, "Oh stars, blue stars of the south, please take me to your side. I don't care if I burn to death." The great dog, its blue, purple, and golden lights twinkling beautifully yet busily, responded. Don't be ridiculous. Who do you think you are? You're just a bird. With your wings, it would take billions, trillions, countless years to reach here. Then it turned away, offering no further acknowledgement. The Yodaka, disheartened once more, wavered and fell briefly before regaining its strength. It circled the sky twice, then resolved to make one more attempt. Flying straight toward the northern sky where the Great Bear constellation shone, it cried out, "Oh stars, blue stars of the north, please take me to your side." The Great Bear replied calmly, "Don't dwell on such needless thoughts. When your mind is clouded, the best thing to do is cool your head. Either dive into the sea where icebergs float, or, if there's no sea nearby, a glass of water with ice will suffice." The Yodaka, crestfallen, faltered and fell again, then circled the sky 4 more times, trying to steady its resolve. And once more, the Yodaka turned toward the east, where the Milky Way was now rising, and called out to the star of the eagle on its far bank. "Oh star, white star of the east, please take me to your side. I don't care if I burn to death." The eagle, its voice booming like a great wind, replied, "No, not at all. You're not even worth discussing. To become a star, you must have the proper status, and it costs a great deal of money too." The Yodaka, completely dejected, lost all hope. It folded its wings and let itself fall toward the ground. Just as its frail legs were about to touch the ground, the Yodaka suddenly surged upward like a column of smoke. Reaching the midpoint of the sky, it shook its body violently, fluffing its feathers as if it were an eagle preparing to attack a bear. Then it cried out, "Kishi kishi 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 kishi," a high, piercing call that sounded just like a hawk. Birds sleeping in the fields and forests awoke with a start, trembling in fear as they gazed in confusion at the starry sky. The Yodaka continued to rise, higher and higher, straight into the heavens. The mountain fire below shrank until it looked no larger than the glowing tip of a cigarette. Undeterred, the Yodaka climbed higher still. The cold was so intense that the Yodaka's breath froze white upon its chest. The thinning air forced it to beat its wings with frantic, desperate effort. Yet, despite all this, the star seemed no closer, their size unchanged from before. Its breathing became labored, like the bellows of a forge. The cold and frost stabbed at the Yodaka like swords, piercing its body relentlessly. Its wings, numb and unresponsive, grew heavier with each passing moment. Finally, with tears brimming in its eyes, the Yodaka looked up at the sky one last time. And so, this marked the end of the Yodaka's journey. The Yodaka could no longer tell whether it was falling or rising, upside down or upright, facing the sky or the ground. Yet, its heart was at peace. Though its blood-stained, large beak was bent to the side, it bore the faint trace of a smile. After a while, the Yodaka opened its eyes clearly. To its astonishment, it saw that its body had transformed into a beautiful blue flame, glowing softly like phosphorescence. Just beside it was the constellation Cassiopeia, with the pale light of the Milky Way stretching quietly behind. The Yodaka's star burned brightly, continuing to glow endlessly. It burned still, even to this day, lighting the heavens for all eternity.
Until we meet again, may the stories of Japan inspire your days. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more tales.